So this fear, are we allowed to use it? Does it motivate people? And the answer is absolutely yes. It's not your best motivator, but some people are uninspirable, and all you have is fear and desperation to move them, to motivate them. So today we're going to talk about this fear, this FOMO, that fear of missing out. Is it okay to use? Yes, it is. How to use it, using it in the right way. Hey, and if you're in the blockchain world, you probably heard about FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We'll talk about these different types of motivators, different types of scarcity, different things you do to trigger action. Let's get into it.
Maximize your influence. Kurt Mortensen is the author of Persuasion IQ, Laws of Charisma, and the best-selling book, Maximum Influence.
Thanks for being here. Kurt Mortensen, podcast 525. Hope everyone's having a great week, making things happen, becoming more persuasive, influencing world, becoming better leaders, better people, and making more money. That's what it's all about, to learn these skills, master skills. Hey, everything you want in life's on the other side of persuasion. And when you need to persuade somebody, it's too late to learn. So pat yourself on the back for being here. Tell your family, friends, and enemies at the podcast at MaximizeYourInfluence.com or iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. So where should we start? This fear, this FOMO, this FUD? Can we fight this FOMO with fear? We do know in Persuasion Influence that when fear grabs their brain, they can't think of somebody else. You got to fight their current fear with a bigger future fear, and that can get them moving. Again, I'm all about the inspiration and motivating people and getting people to want to do things. But hey, if you've been in leadership management long enough, you know that, again, some of these people are uninspirable. They're not going to move without the fear. So let's get into the geeky Scarly article. Let's start there today. The psychology behind FOMO. Again, that's the fear of missing out. Now, it's kind of a new term, new terminology. It's kind of a new thing. We've always had that fear of missing out, but it is 10x, 100x with social media and the internet, and changes the way we think. So this comes from Hattie Brown, Simple Psychology, Journal of Business and Economics Research, your favorite, Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. Again, that FOMO is the feeling or idea that you're missing out on something important or enjoyable that other people are experiencing. And we know it's intensified by social media. So when someone sees someone doing something incredible, something great they might miss out on, it leads them to believe they're missing out on all these events, these opportunities, these social interactions, because they sound so great, so cool. In reality, they probably aren't. So it's the perception that others are having more fun, living better lives, or experiencing better things for you, and that's just not fair. FOMO can be experienced in many situations. Missing out on that epic party, that incredible social gathering that everybody was at. Someone went to Europe and you didn't, to some exciting place. You missed out on the good sell, or anything on social media. So what does this FOMO feel like? Maybe you felt it before. FOMO is basically characterized by the desire to stay continually connected with what others are doing. Now, a study done by Gupta and Sharma found that FOMO can involve a deep sense of envy of others or feeling unhappy about your own life. It may also make you feel anxious about not progressing or living a life that is not as exciting as it should be. So when you're experiencing this FOMO, you have this urge, this drive to be connected, to see what other people are doing and compare yourself with them. And when you compare yourself with others, you never win, because what's human nature? When you look at somebody at social media, you're comparing your weaknesses to their strengths. Your bad day at work to their trip to Europe. Your kid got in trouble, their kid's on the honor roll. You can never win those things. But that's what's causing the FOMO. So this can lead to feelings of lower self-esteem, and everyone has a better life and better experiences than you. And we know that's not true. You can't win that game. When someone's taking 100 selfies to make it look perfect and you compare it to what you just posted, you can't win that game. I know that's easier said than done, but if your brain's wired for FOMO, it's tough to get out of. This is also called loss aversion, that we're more likely to be affected by losses than by equal gains. Psychological reactance, law of scarcity, maximum influence. Some people put a 3-to-1 ratio on it, meaning mentally losing $100 has more psychological impact than winning or gaining $100. They go on in that same study to say that if people perceive they are losing or missing out on something, this can cause greater negative feelings than positive feelings, right? What we're talking about. So FOMO can trigger regret. Basically, it's known as affective forecasting. Basically, that people try to predict how they're going to feel based on events that haven't happened yet. Some people get overwhelmed when there are too many options, too much choice. Our brains can't handle that many options. When we get to the point where there's too many things, too many options to choose from, it's overwhelming. That's why in the world of persuasion influence, 2 to 3 options at the most. If you get more than that, your brain gets overwhelmed, it shuts down, and you end up taking a nap. FOMO does lower mood, triggers feelings of unhappiness, low levels of satisfaction, and can really pull you down. So again, most of this comes from social media. And one study did show, if you're sitting down, that up to 75% of what we post on social media has been embellished just a little bit to make us look a little better than we actually are. That people are more exciting than they actually are. That they're better looking than they actually are after taking 100 selfies. So social media, it's no secret, destroys self-esteem. Part of that is FOMO. We can't win that game. It sucks the life out of you mentally. And when I've had people I've coached go on a social media fast, it's a game changer for them. It makes the biggest difference. And when they see that difference, they end up deleting that social media. But social media pushes that. You might miss out. You got to see that clickbait. You got to click on it. You're missing out on opportunities. They trigger the FOMO because they know what it does to the human brain. Social media makes it so easy to scroll through relationship snapshots. Everyone's happier. They're more in love, have better relationships, and they're experiencing more exciting moments. That's how it looks, even though it's not even true. And it triggers unrealistic relationship expectations, right? Because what do couples post? The best part of their lives, their best vacation, their happiest moments, that great meal they had, versus doing the dishes, weeding the yard, or having nothing to do but watch a bad movie. And so all this does increases that pressure to keep up with people. And that can trigger many negative emotions and feelings. So again, we're going to get to how to use this in persuasion influence in a good way. This is the negative side, so you know what it triggers. If you feel it's a challenge in your life, again, you can limit social media use. Realize that this self-presentation that people are posting the best part of their lives, not the worst part of their lives. If you are going to use social media, let's say you're on there for 20 minutes, go exercise for 20 minutes. You can change some of your social media feed to have more content that makes you feel more positive and not pulling you down. Focus on your relationships and improving those. And I love what Kristen Fuller said. She says, forget the FOMO, do the JOMO. What's JOMO? The joy of missing out. It's a good thing. We can't do everything. There's so much on the internet, so much in the world. We're so busy. Do the little JOMO. Hey, I missed out. Good thing I didn't make the party. I missed that social media feed. I missed the picture. I couldn't make it to that vacation. Hey, the joy of missing out might be your thing. Another couple things I'd add to that. Focus on gratitude. Be more aware of the people and the things you're grateful for and let them know. So there you have the geeky Scarly article, more on the negative side of all the bad things that it does. A couple things you can do to fix it up. But what can we do to use this in a good way since some people are uninspirable? They're so stuck in FOMO. Nothing else is going to motivate them. What can we do? So I'm going to combine this week the listener email. Oh boy! And the persuasion blunder. Don't! This is Pete from England. And Pete, yes, you do get the gold version at influenceuniversity.com. Anybody that provides something I use on the podcast, from humor to blunder to ninja to geeky article, you get the gold version. Or check it out at maximizeyourinfluence.com. It's also the home of the free Persuasion IQ assessment and additional trainings. So Pete from England says, hey, I got over FOMO'd. One right after another. Does this still work? It was so nauseating. They crossed the line. It was one FOMO after another, making up another one, And this was just buying a cell phone. I didn't keep track of all of them, but one was sale ends today. Oh, this model's hard to find. You better get it now. If you purchase today, you'll get extra data. I hear on the phone you have now that it's hard to find the parts for that phone. Hey, if you get this one, you're going to have prestige and people will be impressed you have this phone. All right, Pete, let's talk about what's working, what's not working. That does sound nauseating. Because here's the thing. If you guys can remember one thing about using scarcity or FOMO, you have to let them know why. Why is the sale ending today? Why is it going to be in short supply? Why is supply chain an issue? This part is hard to find, and it is going up because of this, and this. You have to let them know why. And I'd also add the what's in it for them. You want scarcity to work, you need a why, and you need a what's in it for them, why they should do it. And I would add this, a reward. That's one thing they did right in this, that if you bought today, you'd get extra data. So it's okay to have scarcity and FOMO if they know why. You're not just making it up. It has to be something they want, something that's in it for them, and reward them. Look, you do it today, extra data, extended warranty, additional coaching session, those type of things can really help out. Because when you think about the law of scarcity and maximum influence, it is the most abused, overused law on the books, but you still need to use it. And FOMO can be in that same category. So I'm going to say this is okay to use in the right way. You provide the why, the what's in it for them, a reward. And it does depend on the person, the situation, the product, the service, and what is going on. So let me go over a few that could be really helpful to you. So when you're going to do this fear-based FOMO persuasion, you need to highlight the potential risk or challenges that the customer might face if they don't take action. That if they don't take action now, it's going to get worse. Bad things are going to happen. The sky's going to fall, whatever you want to say. So some of these do overlap, but the first one, of course, FOMO, fear of missing out. The way you can use that is highlight those limited time offers. It's an exclusive deal. They have to qualify. Let them know the why. Maybe there's limited stock. The availability is low or out or one left for a reason. Give them that reason. And that does create a sense of urgency or psychological reactance. They need to feel that they're going to miss out on a valuable opportunity if they don't act quickly. You know, the offer ends tonight. Here's why. Here's what you save. Here's your reward. Don't miss out on this great deal. It is never coming back. Now, whatever the truth is, use it. If it's never coming back, say that. If it is, don't say that. Then, the fear of loss. Similar, but you've got to emphasize what the customer stands to lose by not choosing your product or service. Now, what can they lose? It could be time to find a solution. It could be money they're going to lose, convenience, peace of mind, having to start all over again. Could be in the fear of loss category. Hey, without our product, without our service, you're going to spend more on repairs in the future. Then another big one, fear of consequences. Point out the negative consequences of not addressing a problem that your product or service can solve. That again could be financial loss, legal issues, health risks. You know, if we don't do regular maintenance, your equipment could fail. There'll be downtime. And then once you've pointed out those negative consequences, remember the reward, point out the positive consequences, the vision of solving their big problem, their big legal issue, their big health risk. Fear of uncertainty. So if you position yourself, your product or service, with ways to reduce uncertainty or risk or the unknown or a fear they feel is going to happen, it can be very motivating. Hey, with our life insurance policy, you can have peace of mind. You can sleep at night. No matter what happens, you're covered, even if an uninsured driver hits you. Here's an interesting one, fear of inferiority. Hey, you've got to keep up with your neighbors. You got to keep up with the Joneses. They have the latest this and that. When they feel they're falling behind their neighbors, their peers, their friends, the competitors, they're going to lose that competitive edge. That could trigger that fear. Maybe their competitors have already purchased a software, an upgrade, the latest training. They could fall behind. Because what that does is not only are they falling behind, but they're not reaching their full potential. They're not achieving their goals. They're not doing as well as they could. And of course, many of you use the fear of increased cost. hey, if you don't take action now, you don't do it now, prices will go up. This is becoming more scarce. Inflation's hitting, supply chain. Lock in your rate right now before prices go up next quarter. We see that all the time in home mortgages. Lock in your rate, they're going up. That would be the fear of increased costs. So you can use it. Be honest, be ethical, tell them the truth, tell them the why, tell them how it's going to benefit them, and reward them for taking action. So trigger a little fear, I'm okay with that. Build a little pain, but you want to buffer that with a little solution, a little vision of the future, that they're going to be happy, sleep better at night because they made this decision. Now, also careful with fear is you need to have the right dose. Now, first of all, fear is very short term. It's got to be done in the same presentation or at least the same week. Fear can be very short term, very motivating, but very short term. It has to be something that scares them, not just you, but them. Maybe they don't care about sleeping well at night or having life insurance. And the big one is you're using way too much. For example, a successful campaign in the United States was Smoking Kills. Now, this campaign raised awareness about the dangers of smoking. Smoking kills. They talked about consequences if you didn't stop. It did invoke fear to encourage smokers to quit. Now, on the flip side, I was in Thailand and they smoke a lot. And on the packages of cigarettes was a picture of lung cancer. That's going to happen to them if they keep smoking. And this is what's happening to me. And they didn't even faze them and they kept on smoking. And I think the same category is teenagers and driver's ed when they show all the bodies and the broken cars and they laugh. It doesn't happen to them. It's not real. It happens to other people. It was too much fear and it had the opposite effect. I remember this university I worked at, and I'm not sure how effective this was. I thought it was a little over the top, but they brought in crumpled cars where people had obviously died in these car accidents and just set them around campus with these cars that used to be 12 feet long that are now 5 feet long, just smashed and crumpled. Hey, no drowsy driving, don't drink and drive, don't do this. Just to remind them of doing it. I mean, doctors use this with health and wellness products, weight loss supplements, fitness programs. You're going to die, have a stroke, age too fast, have a heart attack. Some people could cross the line there. Now, one that does cross the line, home security systems. I've heard about this. When they knock on your door, the fear of burglary, losing everything, personal safety, getting injured. They crank up that fear, but then they buffer it with protection, peace of mind, securing your home, your kids will be safe. Now, I'm okay with all that. Where I have a challenge is some of these companies, I'm not going to name names, will come into neighborhoods and break into homes. Just break a window here, break a door here, maybe steal a few things. And then a week later, guess what? They're knocking on your door to sell home security systems. So remember, fear is powerful. But you have to strike that balance. If you're going to use fear-based marketing, FOMO-based marketing, don't manipulate, don't cause unnecessary panic, fear, distress. And remember the basic rules. It's very short-term. Don't use too much fear. Make sure there's a why you're using that fear. Make sure there's still something in it for them, that they care about your product or service. You're just not scaring them for fun. And with any psychological reaction, scarcity, urgency, FOMO, reward them for taking action. Extended warranty, additional coaching, additional data, a couple bonuses, a free hug, whatever you want to do. So this fear is a powerful motivator. It's deeply rooted in our psyche and our biology. It's evolved to protect us from danger. Some people will fight or flight. Some people will freeze. But when you trigger it the right way, it increases focus and attention. Loss aversion, meaning people are more motivated to avoid losses than to achieve equivalent gains. That 3-to-1 I talked about. It does increase urgency and immediate action. But do be careful. A strong emotional response can override rational thinking. You want that balance of emotion and logic, but when there's too much emotion, blood leaves the brain. When you feel fear, blood's going to your extremities, fight or flight, and your prospect might not be thinking clearly. So make sure there's a balance there. So there you have it. That is podcast 525. Click on the link in your email or at maximizeyourinfluence.com on podcast 525 for the special of the week. It is your presentation IQ. So click on the link or go to presentationiq.com. 10 questions, take the assessment, helps you with your research, helps us find your strengths and your weaknesses. And for doing that for free, you get the training, the webinar on how to deliver that perfect persuasive presentation, being more charismatic. There's templates, there's guidelines, there's ways to do this. Those secrets you need to convince with charisma, to close on command, to get the yes, you're going to learn in that webinar. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And be open to use the fear and the FOMO. Use it in the right way. I gave you the guidelines here. Use some fear, use some FOMO. Remember, some people are uninspirable. Become a better negotiator, a better influencer, a better leader, and go out and persuade with power.